Hello everyone, my name is Loco, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Protoss. We're in game number 1 on a map called Ultra Love, playing right here with the blue Zerg pieces from Canada. We're looking inside of the main base of Scarlett. Her opponent in this series, playing with the red Protoss Probes. From Germany, we have ShoWTimE. By the way, it's not Ultra Love, my bad, it's Tokamak. I saw the LEDs going around the base and I thought this is... But then I realized there's no LEDs that are bright and colorful on the other side. Okay. Now this particular series is from the RSL. A brand new StarCraft 2 tournament. I believe actually that this particular match was played maybe a month and a half or so ago. They decided to run this tournament over the course of, well, quite a few weeks. And then they released the entire replay pack in one go. So I've got quite a few games to go ahead and have a look at. It does mean, of course, that right now players seem to be peaking. Like as of me casting this, a lot of the players, especially the ones competing in the EWC, like for example ShoWTimE, they are currently on another high. And it looks like, oh geez, oh, okay. Well, it looked like we were oh yeah, no, we wanted to go proxy hatch. Scarlett wanted to go natural into... That's not blocking anything. I'm about 99... Yeah, I was going to say, I'm about 99% certain that that Nexus is not going to be blocked. I like that ShoWTimE here didn't even go Cybercore first. The norm is to go for a Nexus into a Cybercore if you know that it's safe. If you think you are maybe in some trouble, you go Cybercore into Nexus. So ShoWTimE looking at this, by building the Nexus before the Cybercore, he's basically screaming at Scarlett like, yo, I really don't care. Whatever you're building in my natural, I really don't care. Well, maybe he should care, because this could get very messy. Obviously though, Scarlett doesn't yet have a spawning pool. Maybe she's just looking to be best friends. And what better way than, you know, building your house right next to the house of your neighbors, right? Like, what better way to become friends than this? You could knock on the walls, say hello to each other in the morning, maybe, I don't know, grab coffee every once in a while. The kids can play together. Maybe you can feed each other's cat when you're on holiday. I mean, when you're neighbors in StarCraft 2, the sky is the limit. Now, there's no space for that adept to go in between the two structures, but quite like this, actually. Killing? Ooh. Or at least attempting to kill the Zergling. That would have been really nice. The Zergling Cocoon, though, gives a ton of additional armor. So the larva, not so much, but the Cocoon itself gets a lot of armor. Scarlett purposely waiting there for a little while, just to try and bait as many attacks there as possible. I don't know what this is going to achieve. If I'm being honest with you, I think it's going to achieve very little. It's just going to make the Nexus dirty. But other than that, I don't really think this is going to do anything. ShoWTimE already. I mean, like 300 minerals ahead. 275 minerals ahead plus the cost of the drone. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, link speed will eventually finish. But Scarlett is going to have to kill quite a few drones to really justify this. And obviously, she's making quite a few links now, too. That could have been drones on the other side of the map. I guess... the creep here is gonna make it impossible to, yeah, wall this in for now, but we've seen Protoss players over the years do perfectly fine without a door as it is. I think this is totally fine. Yeah, I think this is totally fine right here for ShoWTimE. Scarlett effectively donating about, yeah, maybe 400 or so minerals worth to, well, do very little. I mean, there are more Zerglings coming now. So there was a cancel earlier. The Adepts are still at home, though. There should be a second Oracle. There it is. I mean, those 4 Lings are not going to achieve anything. ShoWTimE even building up a third Nexus during all of this. I really love the way that ShoWTimE is dealing with this, if I'm being honest. It's very easy to panic in these type of scenarios. Look at the probe micro here, too. Lovely, lovely control. Yeah, perfectly managed here by our German player. Scarlett still running some Lings across, though. Trying to see if maybe she can finally get some damage done, but nope, not going to happen. I guess the one saving grace is that these Oracles have stayed at home for now. So as long as the Oracles are at home, I mean, they're not killing stuff on the other side of the map, right? So because of it, the worker count is still okay. But I mean, ShoWTimE obviously realizes at this point that he really doesn't need to do all too much. We can just now transition into a relatively normal game. Here we go. This is all maybe delayed a bit, but it is still looking very normal, very ordinary. I'm assuming Twilight Council and Forge. Yep, there we go. Perfect timing here for ShoWTimE. Navigating this very chaotic situation about as good as you can. I love this counterattack, by the way, with the Adepts. This is going to force out a ton of Zerglings at the absolute bare minimum. Stasis Ward as well, just to be a nuisance. 4 Overlords coming up for Scarlett, who seems to be just a little bit nervous about the whole situation. Adepts, in the meantime, decide to shade on over towards the third. Ooh, ShoWTimE is dominating this. I'm starting to get nerd chills, actually, with the way that, like, ShoWTimE is defending all of this. Because it's been flawless. I mean, you could maybe point out some movement that could be slightly optimized, but it has been about as good as you can defend. Excellent crisis management. Finally, the Adepts are going to commit, it seems, and this will be the last shade. But, I mean, it's so many links. And honestly, at this point, maybe the Oracles, yeah. With the Oracles joining in. Oh, jeez. Okay, with the Oracles joining in, a lot more damage was taken on the links too. And ultimately, where we end up is a stellar economy for ShoWTimE, who can transition out of this quite nicely. Now, you do have to be careful though here as a Protoss, because all of your timings are kind of out of whack, and Protoss is very timing oriented. You don't really know exactly when +1 melee is going to finish up right now, even though in the grand scheme of things, this upgrade started up quite late. Scarlett's economy has been hurt by both herself and then also the Protoss, but across the board, this is still a very losable game for ShoWTimE. Like, this is one of those scenarios where you can almost get a little bit overconfident, right? Like, you're still making Stalkers against Zerglings. The Zerglings are gonna soon have +1 melee, which normally they wouldn't have yet when you're moving across the map with those Stalkers, and obviously Zerglings are pretty good against Stalkers. High Templar, because of it though, on the back it is too. Blink is going to finish up together with the +1 ground. 4th hatchery here for Zerg, and an infestation pit as well. Scarlett, by the way, skipping out on the Roach Warren as well as the Baneling Nest. So she's cutting her corner in that regard. Great defense over here too. Woof. Dude, ShoWTimE has gotten so freaking good at this game. Is it like the first real unit that's dying? I mean, I know that the Adepts died, but they were meant to. Sorry to the Adepts, but like this has been pretty much as good as it can be. There is, however, a macro mistake. I didn't quite glance at the bottom of the screen yet. Okay. Yeah, we do have to certainly start spending the money. ShoWTimE also late with the 4th Nexus. We definitely should have had something building in this section of the map already. And maybe that is Scarlett's ticket out of this, because, yeah, she is now droning up a 5th. She's got a Hive coming. She's got the Lurker Den. Basically, Scarlett, she said, okay, this game is going to be pretty much impossible to win if I don't cut, like, 17 corners. And she did, and she's been able to get away with it. Plus, Protoss is sort of mis-macroing a little bit. If she can get a council on this base, that would be amazing. Not going to happen, it seems. Oracle's still going around. Yeah, but ShoWTimE here struggling with the amount of income that he's getting. Not really able to, well, bring the money down until just now. Luckily, those Warpins, though, are now available, but it becomes a very zealot-heavy army. Wouldn't mind having the Robo kick in here. Oh, okay, that's an alternative option. We're going Fleet Beacon together with a 2nd Stargate. So ShoWTimE is saying, yo, after this pretty good start, I'm gonna go ahead and try to make the pretty good even better. Zerg players don't really like playing late game against Protoss too much in the current meta. Most Zerg players, at the very least, don't. Scarlett seems to be in that category. So let's see what she does when we just go straight into Skytles. We'll probably see Tempest here together with the Mama ship. Lurkers, however, are already out. And Lurkers are scary here. Don't know, though, if Scarlett realizes that this is an opportunity to strike. With the way that ShoWTimE is maneuvering around the map, it is quite dangerous, of course, but yeah. Tempests are not yet out, and until they are, Lurkers are extremely scary. Nidus Network is coming, but I think it's going to be a little too late. Yeah, and ShoWTimE living up to his nickname again, right? A lot of people know him as the Mauer. he plays like an absolute wall. The early game was like, yo, I am gonna throw you way off your game. What are you gonna do when I do this? As she builds a hatchery right next to the Nexus. Well, apparently we do very little panicking. You don't want to be playing Protoss too emotionally, apparently. Play it as robotic as you possibly can. Pretend to be an artificial intelligence. Oh. The Protoss players are shutting down feelings. The artificial intelligence, in the meantime, are trying to create them. It's a little bit difficult to figure out. But yeah, we are now on 4-base economy. And this is a Protoss player that will be difficult to break. So, Mama Ship is coming. It's about halfway done. Second Forge is building up. We're going into the +1 air, which I absolutely love. And so far, even though there is now, well, another 5th hatchery going up, right? After losing the one in the top left. So far, this has effectively been 4-base versus 4-base, which will treat the Protoss player just fine. ShoWTimE is making himself up for a proper attack right now. And I don't think Hydras are gonna cut it. No. Hydras cannot really touch these Tempests. Scarlett's best chances are to go into, well, either a ton of chaos again, but so far ShoWTimE has already proven to us that he's perfectly capable of dealing with all of that, or to go into Corruptors. Now, there is no Spire yet, and obviously if you're making a Spire now, it's going to take forever to finish. It's a very expensive unit too. The Mama Ship itself apparently coming in clutch. Plus, if you do go Spire right now, you're always going to be behind in upgrades unless the game lasts another 20 minutes. And I've got a feeling that ShoWTimE is not going to try and let this one slip through the cracks. A little bit late on the tectonic destabilizers, but a really good run by in the top left. Some of those Zealots from earlier coming in clutch. Leaving a bit of supply in the bank as well. Perfectly positioned photon cannons. Another Zealot does get warped in just to aid in shutting down that Nidus worm before it really gets going. I mean, if you're a Protoss player, this is effectively the style, right? If you're a macro Protoss, this is effectively the style you should aspire to play. Like, this is exactly the way you want to play it. It's calm and collected. Very few risks taken. Maybe a few too few risks, right? I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more decisiveness coming out of ShoWTimE, but I mean, this is how the man has won the tournaments that he's won and how he's been playing for more than a decade. Very conservative. Slowly chipping away and suffocating the Zerg. Those Oracles, by the way, from the early game. 2 of them still remain. Now being used to throw Revelations that will allow those Tempests to shoot at their maximum range. So normally the Tempest wouldn't be able to see far enough, but the Revelation does allow it now. There was a Nidus worm over here. Alright, finally the Lurkers do pop out, and maybe if Scarlett can force a full retreat on his army, that would maybe be something she can work with. Getting the +2 air tonight is already quite useful. Looks like the rest of the Zerg army that is available is also going to be sent through the network. Okay, another Nidus worm coming up. Yeah, and this Protoss army still struggling to go up the ramp. Okay, ShoWTimE does decide to just go all the way back home. I think it's totally fine. Hydra Dash right there getting used. Not a very commonly used ability, but quite nice when it comes to getting out of range of the storm. Lurker though, yeah, a couple of Lurkers here do get planted down. Problem is, these Lurkers are not gonna have a way to go home. Scarlett does still have some money in the bank though. And you know what? She is navigating this about as good as you can at this stage in the game. My main concern is the continuous Hydra production. +1 air though, the +1 flyer upgrade is now starting up in the Spire. And this is something that sometimes happens to ShoWTimE, you know, where like, he's playing pretty much a perfect game, and then slowly but surely, the extreme conservative approach, like the zero risk-taking, is gonna open up to, it's gonna open him up to run-bys like the ones that we've just been seeing. Because I like the position that he was in at minute 12 a hell of a lot more than the position that he's in right now. Now, this is still a fantastic spot for Protoss, don't get me wrong. But it's just making the entire game really, really difficult. Yeah, sometimes ShoWTimE lacks a little bit of that killer instinct. It's maybe not really the lack of a killer instinct. It's the pursuit of playing the perfect game. But then at some point you realize that you're human. And, well, as someone who's been playing a human in IRL for quite a while now, it's pretty difficult, man, to play the perfect game. This is still fine, though. Nice collapse here from a couple different angles, forcing the Zerg army to retreat or die fighting. In the meantime, there's a little bit of a hit squad as well. So recently, I did cast a series of ShoWTimE going up against Serral. And in that particular set of games, ShoWTimE was a lot more decisive. He did a lot of recalls into the opponent's main base. He did a lot more strategic variety. Admittedly, in those games, it didn't really work out as great, but I feel like it would be much more likely for that sort of thing to work against Scarlett than it would against Serral, and ShoWTimE was very decisive in those games. Maybe it's because he perceives himself as, like, being on the back foot in those type of games anyways, so he's just more allowed to be crazy. Now, this is, again, not a terrible fight for Zerg. A lot of units are low HP, but you know what? When they pop out of their lurker cocoons, they will be healing back up to full. Kinda sick. How are we, by the way, at minute 16? Like, seriously, if you compare this to the way that, like, Hero would play it out, or the way that MaxSpecs would play it out, this game would have been over by minute 8. And that would be them pushing it. I sometimes wonder if ShoWTimE is making a game a little overly difficult for himself. Still a good position, though, because there's still no real answer for the Zerg. Still kind of feels to me like the Zerg player is slowly fizzling out, but, I mean, she has been for the better half of this game, and she's still here, slowly upgrading, slowly developing. Scarlett showing us that she is not to be trifled with, as we have now got double Spire. That is one way to try and catch up to that single Cybercore. Cybercore just slowly upgrading. Scarlett still has a pretty monstrous army, too. I mean, it's Lurkers and Hydras for now, but she is starting to get a little bit of a bank here to make a transition towards a lot of Corruptors. And that's the goal, right? Like, this is the Zerg player effectively accepting being on the back foot and then slowly grinding away at the Protoss. I mean, those storms are glorious, though. ShoWTimE getting a lot of value. It still kind of feels a bit futile, right, for the Zerg? I mean, it's silly because you look at the banks here, and you look at the army that Scarlett has, and she has a good economy and some good upgrades too, but it still feels a little bit futile to me. Protoss just has so much, like the full map control, and while Zerg is difficult to break because of all the lurkers and the static defense, it still certainly feels like the Protoss game to lose. But let's see. It's certainly possible. Slow and steady wins the race right here for Scarlett. Yeah, Scarlett very much so trying to play survival, whereas ShoWTimE is shopping for, like, you know, the Rolexes of... He's getting the Ferrari of Protoss upgrades. Things like observer speed. I mean, it's nice to have, don't get me wrong. Ooh, can't afford this, though. Bunch of misread Hydras. Woo, they got absolutely melted. Apparently, oh, one extra storm to boot right there, killing a bunch of his own observers. Okay, Nidus Worm again, trying to cause chaos. Hatchery falls over here, hatchery falls over there. ShoWTimE could continue fighting. ShoWTimE should just go kill her, man. Just go. We can just... I feel like we should really just go. 19 Corruptors now, though, are coming up. Obviously, that's what ShoWTimE is worried for. The mass transition towards mass Corruptor. These are the first time that flying units hit the battlefield other than the Overlords and the Overseers, and they're immediately at +2/+1 with +3 attacks underway. Okay, Mothership is here. Oh, good storm. Really nice storms. There's an Archon underneath as well. Scarlett decides to just commit to killing only the Mothership, but that is an extremely expensive unit to kill. And in the end, the Mothership didn't even go down. All of the Corruptors, though, disappeared within an eye blink. Ooh. So, the RSL used a bit of a different map pool, and I'm not exactly sure as to why. but it used a different map pool than what the official StarCraft 2 tournament map pool is like. Or at the very least, what the official StarCraft 2 ladder map pool is like. We find ourselves on the grid. I feel like it has to be said like that. This was actually one of my favorite maps from the TOMC. Not so much because it was awesome, but mostly because it was interesting. I haven't really seen too many games on it, but I've always really liked the idea. Plus it has the word "the" in it, you know? That immediately already makes life a little bit better. It's a weird one, though, because this map is in, like... It's in layers, you know? It's like an onion or an ogre. It's got layers. So there's, like, the top layer, I guess, is what we can call it over here with, like, the main bases. Then it's a ramp down to, like, another layer of map. And then that layer of map kind of continues all the way to the other side. And then there's another layer down that leads to another, well, section of the map that has a lot of expansions on it too. And then you can go another layer down. Where another layer and then you can go one more. There's too many layers. What are we doing, Scarlett? Are we doing it again? Yo, what's going on? Because it worked so well in the last game. Yeah. Well, ShoWTimE has seen that this time around it's a spawning pool first. So I'm guessing that we're respecting it a little bit more this time around. Double gateway as well. Cybercore right now, all before the Nexus. So ShoWTimE's still just on a single base. Yeah, I think that previous game, though, also made Scarlett realize that it was going to be really difficult to win in a straight-up macro game. Let's see, though. Ooh, nice movement, just barely in the nick of time. Zealot now spawns and Probe is in position to go ahead and re-wall this whole thing in. More Zealots are coming up, but I mean, you gotta respect the Zerglings here. They actually hit pretty dang hard. When the creep spread starts moving around, too, you get some of that extra vision. We get the regen. We probably get a queen, too. Shield batteries have now been built, though, for ShoWTimE, but they take a little while before they actually finish up. I guess that means they have not been built. They've been building. There you go. Anyways. Ooh, really, Scarlett? We are spine crawler rushing? Oh, God. Okay. I haven't seen a spine crawler rush in a long time. Of all people to spine rush, though. Really? ShoWTimE? I mean, if you can break ShoWTimE with it, sure. But, like, this is... Like, I kind of picture ShoWTimE as, like, that character that is, like, fully plated up in the most defendable armor ever. You know? Super high constitution levels. Maxed out HP counts. Solid amount of armor. And that's the one we're spine crawler rushing? Well, you know what? It might just work. The hatchery is still alive. Second queen does pop up. It's gonna take a while, though, to finish. It's mostly just, I think, to draw fire. The queen is here, though, and we do get a pretty dang strong setup here for Scarlett, who is trying to see if she can break through this. Now, ultimately, the hatchery falls, but likewise, the cybercore is also looking like it will go down. ShoWTimE already canceling the warp gate research, purposely trying to get some of those resources back. He did spend some of the tech right there on that robo facility, so the robo facility is going to finish up eventually. Going to make life a little bit better. Zergling speed, though, nowhere to be seen, because Scarlett still has not taken a gas geyser. So this is just going to be slow Zerglings only. Look at the amount of static defense, though. Look at the amount of shield batteries. Every single one of these Protoss units has a personal shield battery. Still, the Spines will be more than happy to start poking through all of that. We should certainly begin an Immortal if we can, but ShoWTimE actually doesn't quite have the money for it. Now finally one starts up. Cybercore had to be rebuilt. A gateway had to be rebuilt as well. The queen just barely got enough energy right there as well for a transfusion on the spine crawler. And slowly but surely, the Zerg player is starting to work through this line of static defense. I didn't know that Canada was known for its cheese. I thought they had, like, maple syrup and all the rest of it, you know? But maybe there's, like... Alright, well, the Immortal is out now. And the Immortal is gonna make killing those spine crawlers way easier. But it has to be micro to the front. Yeah, there's not really an easy position. Can the Immortal go around the side here and be in range? It can. Okay, that's sick. So the Immortal now can start targeting down the spines. One of them going down within just a second. In the meantime, we have a Warp Prism coming up as well for ShoWTimE. So ShoWTimE wants to juggle that Immortal. Nice targeting again, though. Actually, the positioning there is pretty much perfect. Only one Spine Crawler right now remains, and that is going to be the end of it. Okay, we do have one of the pylons falling, but well managed right there. All things considered, by our German Protoss. Now, as the dust settles, we're at 23 versus 13 workers. In absolute numbers, it's not that much, but obviously this is a massive economical advantage. ShoWTimE is just able to produce way more stuff as time goes on here. Yeah, and this is what I'm mostly concerned for the Zerg player. We do have the Lynx trying desperately to get a little bit of us around, but I mean, great positioning again. I love the way that ShoWTimE positions his units. It's so good. Yeah, this is what I'm mostly concerned for the Zerg. Scarlett is now going to have to double down on droning, but I wouldn't mind seeing ShoWTimE transition to a one-base all-in, and that seems to be what we've got over here. Yeah. Extra gateways are coming up. And even though one-base Protoss all-ins haven't been popular since Wings of Liberty, so pretty recent, we are going to have one over here. I mean, there will be a Nexus on the back of it too, but I think we're going to at the very least commit. I mean, we should, no? Even just putting on this amount of pressure, though, is quite nice. Oh, yep, grab the Stalker too. Because the idea is to just soften up this Zerg player as much as possible. The more links that get produced right now, the smaller the economy of the Zerg player will remain. Scarlett, though, not taking the bait. I think ShoWTimE should go. There's an Observer right now. There's two Immortals. There's Sentries. I mean, we ultimately go Immortal Sentry all-in. If you've been watching StarCraft for a long time, you'll probably be well familiar with the Immortal Sentry all-in. It's a very old-school approach. Back then, the Immortals were also way more immortal than they are right now. But I think this is an excellent idea. Link speed only about halfway done. ShoWTimE engaging, though, in the most ShoWTimE way possible. Oh, we want a force field? We want a force field? Force field! Sorry about that, Brenda. You're not going up the ramp. We're elevatoring all the units into the main base. Refreshes the force field, too. Good positioning. Keep the sentry alive. Okay, the sentry does end up falling, but I mean, there's still a bunch of them remaining. I love this, though, from ShoWTimE. Yep, warps in additional sentries. There's no way for the Zerg to break the force field. There's no, well, Ultralisks, Ravagers. There's nothing here for the Zerg to break that. Now, obviously, the sentries won't have an infinite amount of energy on them, but that was a brilliant game of StarCraft 2. I hope you enjoyed watching this series. We've had a very cheesy game number 1 start, and then a full-on macro game on the back of it, and obviously the second game here, an absolute banger if you enjoy hyper-aggressive StarCraft. Well done right there by ShoWTimE. Definitely showing us why he is, well, one of the very best Protoss players on the planet right now.